Dhruva Maharaj worshipped the Lord even in full youth. For instance, even in the wombs of their mothers, Maharaj Prahlad and Maharaj Parikshit worshipped the Lord. Even in his very childhood, at the age of only 5 years, Dhruva Maharaj worshipped the Lord. Even in full youth, Maharaj Ambarish worshipped the Lord. And even at the last stage of his frustration and old age, Maharaj Dhritarashtra worshipped the Lord. Ajamil worshipped the Lord even at the point of death, and Chitraketu worshipped the Lord even in heaven and in hell. In the Narasingha Purana it is said that as the hellish inhabitants began to chant the holy name of the Lord, they began to be elevated from hell towards heaven. Durvasa Muni has also supported his view. Mucheteyan nam yudate narakopi. Simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, the inhabitants of hell became released from their hellish persecution. So the conclusion of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam as given by Shukadeva Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit is Etan nirvadyamananam ittatam akuto bhayam yoginam nirpanitam hare namanukirtanam. O King, it is finally decided that everyone, namely those in the renounced order of life, the mystics and the enjoyers of fruit of work, should chant the holy name of the Lord fearlessly to achieve the desired success in their pursuits. Bhagavatam 10, 2, 1, 11. Similarly, as indicated, indirectly in various places in the revealed scriptures, 1. Even though one is well versed in all the Vedas and scriptures, if one is not a devotee of the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, is considered to be the lowest of mankind. 2. In the Garuda Purana, Brihanadadiya Purana, and the Padma Purana, the same is repeated. What is the use of Vedic knowledge and penance for one who is devoid of devotional service to the Lord? 3. What is the comparison of thousands of Prajapatis to one devotee of the Lord? 4. Shukadeva Goswami said in the Bhagavatam 2.4.17 that neither the ascetic, nor one who is greatly munificent, nor one who is famous, nor the great philosopher, nor the great occultist, nor anyone else can achieve the desired result without being engaged in the service of the Lord. 5. Even if a place is more glorious than heaven, there is no glorification of the Lord of Vaikuntha or his pure devotees, it should at once be quitted. 6. The pure devotee refuses to accept all the 5 different types of liberation in order to be engaged in the service of the Lord. The final conclusion, therefore, is that the glories of the Lord must be always and everywhere proclaimed. One should hear about his glories, one should chant about his glories, and one should always remember his glories, because that is the highest perfectional stage of life. As far as fruit of work is concerned, it is limited to an enjoyable body. As far as yoga is concerned, it is limited to the acquirement of mystic power. As far as empiric philosophy is concerned, it is limited to the attainment of transcendental knowledge. And as far as transcendental knowledge is concerned, it is limited to attainment of salvation. Even if they are adopted, there is every chance of discrepancies in discharging the particular type of function. But adoption of the transcendental devotional service of the Lord has no limit, nor is there fear of falling down. The process automatically reaches the final stage by the grace of the Lord. In the preliminary stage of devotional service, there is an apparent requisite for knowledge, but in a higher stage there is no necessity of such knowledge. The best and guaranteed path to progress is therefore engagement in Bhakti Yoga, pure devotional service. The cream of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the foregoing 4 shlokas, as sometimes squeezed out by the impersonalists for different interpretations in their favor. But it should be carefully noted that the 4 shlokas were first described by the personality of Godhead himself, and thus the impersonalist has no scope to enter into them because he has no conception of the personality of Godhead. Therefore, the impersonalists may squeeze out any interpretation from them, but such interpretations will never be accepted by those who are taught in the disciplic succession from Brahma, as will be cleared up in the following verses. Besides that, the Shruti confirms that the Supreme Absolute Truth, personality of Godhead, never reveals himself to anyone who is falsely proud of his academic knowledge. The Shruti mantra clearly says, Katha Upanishad 1.2.23, Nayamatma pravachanena labhyo namedhaya na bhudashrutena yam evaisha brinute tena labhyas tashyaivatma vibrunate tanum swam. The whole matter is explained by the Lord himself, and one who has no approach to the Lord in his personal feature can rarely understand the purport of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam without being taught by the Bhagavatas in a specific succession. The longest purport in the Bhagavatam. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shlakaya Chakshurmritam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Bangum Lankayate Gurum Yaktipatamaham Bande Shri Gurum Diratanam. It is the conclusion, as Prabhupada emphasized in many places. And even those who read such a long purport, if it is seen from any angle, as the impersonalists do, other than that the conclusion is one's earnest, sincere surrender unto the personality of Godhead, then their reading is basically shrama eva hi kevalam, useless waste of time. Because he will not get the fruit. Well, everyone knows that, the mango in its different stages has different appeal or tastes. But the ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is culminated in the lotus feet of the Lord. So this earnestness, this sincerity, Srila Prabhupada emphasized, is the only ingredient for success. After all that is said and done, if one has not developed this one quality, then he has missed the boat of transcendental knowledge. That ship has sailed. And this is the unfortunate position for those mundane wranglers who take pleasure in the flowery language of the Vedas, the Veda Vata Ratas. They love to hear their own voice in the discourse, and we see them. They're there everywhere you go. Previously, someone had to hold some function. He had to make some arrangement. There are many bagichas in Vrindavan, gardens. And they'll advertise some sapta. And some person will come and they'll advertise. And many, many people will come to listen. Because that is the tradition. They're going to hear a holy person, so this is a great danger. Because it's like being attracted into a den of snakes. One is thinking that should be a very nice function. And there's so many advertisements everywhere you go. The banners are hung across the Parikrama Marg. Come and see this person. But this person is like a serpent with a jewel on its hood. The serpent is already poisonous. But everyone knows to avoid that serpent. No one purposely goes where the serpent is known to be situated. But this same serpent, when you put a jewel on its hood, and people, very attractive, we must go see, we must go here. So they take the jewel of the Bhagavatam and they use it to lure unsuspecting persons. And then they just spew this poison in the form of the flowery words in order to attract them. And then they're captured. and they become their cheap followers by some flattery and some trickery. And then they give so much money. And in this way, he develops these followers. And then all over India, this same person goes, and his wealth is increased. And every sincere devotee knows that this is all completely bogus. But their illusion is so great that one cannot penetrate that covering without great endeavor. And there has to be some reciprocation. If a person is drowning and you want to save him, you throw him a life preserver. But he has to grab that life preserver. And you can shout, grab the life preserver, save yourself. And he may say, oh, it's too far away. You have to make a little effort. You have to reach out. No, I can't, it's too much. So we encounter these people all the time. It's too much trouble. They don't want to hear. Especially they don't want to hear the conclusion. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this purport is especially meant for those, and we see clearly that this is not coming in the 5th canto or the 6th canto or the 7th canto. 8th canto, it's coming in the 2nd canto. It's like the summary study of the Bhagavad Gita. If you make it to the 2nd canto, if you're a little inquisitive and a little intelligent and a little sincere, you can get the full nectar at this point. The full nectar in the form of Srila Prabhupada's sharp, conclusive presentation. There's nothing left here to be debated. But many people will, at this juncture, they will put it down. Because up until this point, one can think, oh yes, Vedanti tat pamyot jnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabjate. They can think, yes, the impersonal is there. And Bhagavan is just another feature. There's 3. Pick one. You know? They're thinking it's like that. In Vrindavan, there's one temple called Pagal Baba Mandir. Who's been to Pagal Baba Mandir? Have you been to Pagal Baba Mandir? It's on the Mathura Road. At one point, it was the tallest building in Vrindavan. When I was living there, they were building. Finally, it was completed. This Pagal Baba, it was just some, Babaji sitting on the side of the road smoking beedis. But some rich person thought that this is a great sadhu, and they elevated him by, artificially. And in this Baba's imperfect mind, so a temple was built according to his vision. Beautiful construction. Tall, somewhat of a trapezoid, so larger at the bottom, narrowing at the top. And so I was curious. I went in, and on the basement level, which was not full basement, there was light coming in a little bit up the ground. So if you were in the basement, 8 feet, 2 feet was surrounded by windows all around. So there was light. Nice feature. And when I went in, I was struck that the base was circular. So the temple was somewhat circular, but not fully. And there were carved niches, like a shelf, just small shelf all around it. And there were these tiny, tiny little figurines, like toy soldiers. When I got up closer, I said each one was a demigod. And so it's supposed to be the base, the 33 million demigods. And there was quite a few. There wasn't 33 million, but there was a lot. There were thousands. Thousands and thousands. And also in the basement, beautiful set of Gaurnatai deities. Beautiful set, but obviously not installed, just set there with their Harinam chalas around them. Beautiful Gaurnatai. So then I ascended to the first floor, and there's the Matsya Avatar. Beautiful Matsya Avatar. And then you go up to the next floor, and there's Kurma, Varaha. I'm going up and up, and I'm thinking, okay, this is not so bad. You know, this is dāsa Avatar. So you had all these different levels. I got to the top level, and there's Krishna Balaram. But there was another level. I thought, what's going to be there? You know, Ras Leela or something like that. Got to the top level, and there was a square block of granite with the Omkar carved on 5 sides. So that was it. All these other things are just, you know, your immature realizations. You know, the neophyte, you go from, you know, Gaurnatai in the basement, that's the most neophyte. You know, you're just sentimentally chanting these holy names, which anyone can find in the Vedas. It can't be very elevated, because anyone can chant them. No secret mantras, no need to know Sanskrit, 12 years laboring over the vyakara, the grammar. All right? And then a little elevated, you know, there's the different avatars. You can understand a little bit about, you know, how Krishna appears in the material world in this way, or not even Krishna, how the Omkar appears in the material world, differentiated Shabda. But when you really elevated it, then you get to realize that everything is just Shabda Brahma, this Om, just Om. But it was a beautiful view. So I took out my camera with my telephoto and my coupler, and I just got these beautiful shots. And Vrindavan was totally unspoiled at that time, in the early days, 1977, 78. Beautiful. But who knows where those slides are now, just lost in transition. But very nice. You could see everything. You could see Krishna Balaram Mandir off in the distance. You know, the only spires, Madan Mohan, Govindaji, you know, like that. But the bottom line is that unless one is sincere, unless one surrenders to the lotus feet of the spiritual master in Krishna, he cannot understand these elaborate purports. He cannot. You know, Prabhupada gives us so many hints in various places, you know, with regards to, I mean, the Bhagavad Gita is extremely clear, but nobody wants to, you know, tad vidi pranipatena pariprasthena seve upadekshanti te jnanam jnana tapadarshana. And again, they're thinking any truth. You know, so if someone's giving them the impersonal truth, they think, okay, I found it. Because they have no knowledge, they have no real knowledge. You know, for them, Bhagavan is just another equal part of the absolute truth. So they have to go, so then they have to hear more, and therefore the Bhagavatam is the ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge, the cream. So one gets a little, and the key, the catalyst, is Bhakti Yoga. So we have to engage in this way. We can't think that simply by my intellectual prowess, as it's described here, that I can somehow unravel the mysteries and directly approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's not available there. He's completely hidden. Moga samoga karmana, moga jnana vichitta. He doesn't have to be revealed. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter. He's bewildering everyone. Everyone. But we see that even the forest inhabitants, Prabhupada says, the forest inhabitants. That means the Adivasi, the Bhil, like that. The Sabara. The forest inhabitants, they can understand. So this is the key. You know, let us with a pure heart and full determination. Pure heart means what? That's how we understand. What does initiation mean? Why did Prabhupada set those things clearly? And at every opportunity, when he would ask you to recite what are the 4 regulator principles. There was no Bhakti Shastri in those days. And later on it came in 69, 68. There was no disciple course. There wasn't. They didn't have anything. Follow the 4 regular principles and chant 16 rounds. That was his only request. He was very liberal in that regard, and we see that from that pastime with Hayagriva. Many persons were attracted, and they rendered invaluable service, but some were casualties of the battle, of the war. This is inevitable. And so what did Prabhupada tell us at a certain point? He said, don't be surprised who leaves, be surprised who stays. So that was interesting for us to hear because we could understand. And you think, well, if the process is so potent and pure, why do people leave? But ultimately, we over the years, we can observe that people become slack in their attention to the process. So one cannot, many times we've heard the analogy that the temple is like a hospital. And we're patients under the care of the expert physician. And Prabhupada has used this analogy. And we have to surrender to the rehabilitation. It's not always easy. No, everyone knows. And what is that verse? What is poison in the beginning is like nectar at the end. What is like nectar in the beginning is poison at the end. So this is the case. We should appreciate this. And we should embrace the hardship that devotional service presents for purification. We should embrace it. We should think, no problem. 4 hours sleep, no problem. 6 hours of book distribution, no problem. 6 hours of chanting the holy name, no problem. Bring it on. Bring it on. Cold showers, bring it on. These austerities give us our strength to fight off the moments that Maya chooses to test us. Why does it say that austerity is the wealth of the Brahmana? What does that mean? How is austerity the wealth of the Brahmana? Because it is that austerity, vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana, which gives him that laser-like focus on the goal. If I can see the goal, why would I be distracted by this detour? The goal is right there. I can see it. I can see it. Yeah, that's a nice rest area. It's got some dancing girls. It's got some vending machines. Everything is there. But the goal has that and 1,000,000 times more. It may not have the dancing girls. Some religions think it does. But it's got the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his eternal associates. And it has everything that we've been looking for since in these repeated births in the material world. And that is what? Friendship, love, all these things. This is Anandamaya Vyasat. Everything, all that's in Anandamaya is all related to these things. Personal interaction. Permanent personal interaction. Not that he's my friend one day, he's not my friend the next day. No. So there it is. There's the goal. That's what your austerity is meant for. And when Maya throws you that curveball, trying to knock you out, you can duck. You can slow everything down like they do in the movies. You see it coming at you, you just get out of the way. You don't stand there like a dull stone and let it smack you in the face. No, you take evasive maneuvers. That's what we somehow or other we're supposed to learn. You know. Maya never gets tired. But she can wear you down very easily if you let her. If you allow yourself to be captivated just by one thing. That's why this continuous internet 24/7 is so detrimental. Because anytime someone feels like, oh, let me just, let me take a break. Let me just look at this. But what is this? This is just a portal to the greatest degradation. Ajamila was captured by one instance of the Sudra and Sudrani. And here we have it 24/7. 24/7. And everyone knows that the greatest single, whatever you want to call it, presence on the internet is pornography. The greatest single presence. Forget the politics and the cute animals and all these other little things. No. The greatest single presence on the internet is pornography. It makes the most money. It creates the most difficulties. And it's like Maya, it was made for Maya. She's like thinking, I hardly have to do anything. So we're very fortunate to have the association of devotees to protect us. Just like when you're on the battlefield, your battle buddies, everybody's there. One guy fighting off a bunch of people determined to kill you, it's quite challenging. But if you've got some strength, what do they say? Strength in numbers. Everybody knows that, strength in numbers. Then you can work together to defeat the common enemy. You don't have to do it alone. And we see what happens when you try to do it alone. You become a casualty. Don't do it alone. Stay in the association of devotees. This is Prabhupada's fervent plea. You see, when Hayagriva comes back, he's so emotional, he has to tell everybody to leave the room. So emotional. So much love the spiritual master has for the disciple. He doesn't take it lightly. It may seem like that, I'm just another disciple. No. If you think like that, then what is the point? What is the relationship? Just some formal, official thing? If you think like that, then there's no relationship. Just like a paper marriage. You have so many people in the material world, they want to get American citizenship. They find some, some hapless American, and they take advantage of them. And they say, oh yeah, I'll marry you. They don't want, this guy, just take advantage of them. Cheaters and the cheated. So don't treat the relationship to the spiritual master like a paper marriage. Just some official ritual. Then you will not make advancement in spiritual life. You'll have some shadow, something, whatever you want to call it. It's not just shadow attachment, but there'll be shadow. You're feeling a little bit of a camaraderie. Maybe there's some superficial relationship for some time, but it will not stand the test of Maya. It will not stand the test because there's no determination, there's no link. You don't feel that brotherhood or sisterhood. You have to feel it. You have to feel that we're in this together, fighting the battle. Otherwise, yeah, we can sit and talk about philosophy. It's very nice, massage each other's philosophical egos and, have some competition. Who knows the most? Who's realized the most? Who's this? Who's that? Who can quote? No, it doesn't. It has nothing to do with that. It all comes down to sincerity and simplicity. That is the bottom line. So all of your knowledge should be directed towards these goals. You realize that, yes, if I'm not surrendered, then what is the use of my knowledge? If it can't help me to achieve that. So, we're a little over time. We just read the longest purport in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the conclusion of the nutshell verses, and we survived. We can get a t-shirt. I survived 2936. Any questions, comments, corrections, concerns? Yes, Nanta Bhargavanga.
You were saying that sometimes there's detours on the way with dancing girls, but also the ultimate conclusion, I mean, it's either you're either a gopa or a gopi, and so there are dancing girls ultimately. You're part of the service to it, whatever position you're in.
Well, I mean, we can understand that, there's a certain level there that I won't, go to, but everyone wants a friend. Who is not attracted by the pastimes of Krishna and the cowherd boys in the forest of Vrindavan? Who is that person who doesn't express, who thinks, no, that's inferior. I'm going to wait until someone, my siddha deha is revealed to me as a gopi. No one's thinking. There are many arguments in this regard. Some of them are not worth discussing. But one simple understanding is that my constitutional position is constitutional always. Whatever I am, I was. It's not that I was something and I'm going to be something else. That is hotly debated. But the bottom line is that, what did Lord Chaitanya say? Trunarapi sunichana, torapi sihishana, amanina manadena kirtanisdahi. If we just develop that, our life is successful. If Krishna kicks me or embraces me, yeah, that's there. It doesn't say he's embracing me like a gopa or a gopi. But we understand that is there. But first, develop humility. All right? Prabhupada chastised everybody. Chatavira you were there when they had the Gopi Bhava Club in LA that time?
I was there 1 week and got hit with it.
Yeah.
And then Prabhupada put it into it very quickly.
He said, and the famous takeaway is first deserve, then desire. First deserve, and Gadagraj told me when he said that, Prabhupada banged the table. First deserve, then desire. I think Gadagraj is trying to make his way to Rath Yatra. He loves Rath Yatra. It's one of his things. But yeah, he was one of the, he doesn't say it, but he made sure that Prabhupada knew what was going on. Any other questions or comments? Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki, Śrīla Prabhupada ki, Chapter Shloki ki. They want to be gopis, but they forget gopi party, dāsa, dāsa, dāsa.